By way of introduction, while Kayvon gets his panel together, we are talking today almost entirely in terms of our special presentations about storage. Water supply reliability obviously is one of the two co-equal goals, and water supply is also important to maintain the aquatic environments of the Delta. Of course, the Delta Plan lays out three key strategies in its water supply reliability chapter. One is reducing reliance on the Delta as a water supply by more efficient water use and the diversification of local supplies, including better groundwater management. And, of course, that's where an awful lot of the effort's going this year in the drought, when we haven't got a Delta water supply that people can turn to. Our Delta Plan's water supply reliability section also emphasizes the importance of improving conveyance through the Delta so that we can make better use of the supplies that are available. One of the things that's interesting about reading the BDCP's environmental documents is that they can make it more feasible to move the water that's available in wet years into storage south of the Delta. For example, if I remember the figures right, with the preferred alternative in the BDCP, we could fill San Luis 85% of the time, and now I think we can fill it a little less than half. And I think the agencies who are involved in water management have become convinced that the critical path for improving reliability lies through improved storage, because we'll be of a difficult conveyance, because we'll have a difficult time moving water to where it's needed, even if it is stored, if we don't have a better way to get it through the Delta. But the third leg is improved storage so that we can store floodwaters in the wet years and have them available, whether it's in reservoirs or in adequately managed aquifers, so we can make it available in the dry years. And our parents and grandparents did a great job of developing our current storage facilities. And because of their foresight and diligence, there aren't many suitable spots left in our landscape, at least for surface storage. And one of the questions, of course, is can water users afford to pay their appropriate share of the cost of developing those? So the Delta Plan lays out a couple of key recommendations. One is promptly completing the surface storage studies that the CalFed program initiated under the leadership of DWR and the Bureau. And so we're going to hear reports on those today. It's important that these critical projects get to the stage we can understand what they might be able to deliver and how they would be paid for. And then, in addition, to complement those studies, the Delta Plan recommends that we identify through surveys of local water users smaller projects that might be implemented more quickly, both subsurface storage as well as surface storage projects. And we're going to hear about this work that the DWR and that the Water Commission and the Aqua folks have been doing in that regard. The white paper that the Council approved last fall provides a little additional detail on these recommendations, particularly on the importance of completing the surface storage studies, identifying who might benefit from them. We'll hear about progress in that regard, as well as on conducting then the survey of local water agencies and revisiting the old CalFed work to see if there's other good ideas that weren't pursued back in 2000. So we have some sense of smaller projects that might be able to move ahead more promptly. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Kayvon Sampson, who's one of our who is our supervising engineer, I guess now, not one of, who's pulled together the groups we'll hear from today.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chair Fiorini, and thank you, council members. It's an honor to be here. They don't normally let me out of my cage often, so I have to say my hat's off to the previous speakers and the panel members that I'm going to present today. They do this regularly, and they do it so well. Dan did a great introduction, kind of leaves me with little to contribute, but I will get down to how we're going to lay out the panels today. I thought we would start with a panel who could talk to us about the future of storage in California from the federal and state government level. So to my right, we have Jason Phillips. He's the Deputy Regional Director for USBR. He can provide some overview of those CalFed projects. To his right is Ajay Goyal. Ajay is the Chief of Statewide Infrastructure Investigation Branch at DWR. He's going to contribute as well with the North of Delta storage option, but he's also going to talk about possible reoperation of the system. That's in legislative mandate from 2008, and he's going to talk about that as an option as well. And then to his right, anchoring this wonderful panel, is Dr. Jay Lund. As we know, Dr. Lund wears many hats. Today he is wearing his director of the UC Davis Center for Watershed Science, and he's going to tell us about the future of storage from what he's learned in his studies about what works and what would be really efficient to make the whole system work. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Phillips.